Okay. There we go. Now we're live. I see you've got a doggy behind you.
I do.
What's your doggy's name?
Indiana Bones.
You've got a very cool dog, I take it.
Yeah, today's her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Indiana Bones. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going to go and get comfy now to settle in for the show. So you're in Ithaca, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Love it. I'm from Syracuse originally.
I know. I saw that, and I didn't know that.
Yes. I don't usually advertise it.
Yeah. Why would you? I thought that was really cool, actually.
Yeah.
When did you move away? Were you really young, or did you grow up there a little bit?
I was. Yeah, I was 21 when I moved away and didn't look back. I've only visited twice since then. Once was for a funeral, so I don't really go back very often.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you have
you
a lot
can
of
read the comments, by the way. If you click the top right corner button that says comments, you'll be able to see everybody popping in. Hello, everyone. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Bradley. Hi, Erica. Hi, Connie. Hi, Lori. Hi, Katya. Hi, Chantal. Hi, Amma. Welcome, everyone. Just smudging the space real quick, like I do every morning. All right. So what have you guys been up to? Mercury retrograde, I believe, is ended. Yes.
Correct.
Finally. My car.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, my car couldn't take it anymore.
What was happening?
First, nobody could find anything wrong with it, but it just kept having hissy fits about all kinds of stuff. The battery would go dead for no reason whatsoever, and nobody could find anything wrong with the battery. I've changed the battery 3 times. So I don't know.
How is it now? Is it
Fingers
okay
crossed,
now? Did it shift?
Hopefully we're all good. I have the world's best mechanic who really takes good care of me. So luckily I didn't even have to pay. They just kept swapping things out for me. They're really nice. So I got lucky. Awesome. I got very lucky. But yeah, everything seems to be okay. Hopefully now that Mercury retrograde is over. We're still in the shadow period though, right? You might still see a few little hiccups here and there.
Yeah, here and there. But it's okay. Things are starting to move.
A lot of people are scared of Mercury retrograde. Only my appliances and things are scared of Mercury retrograde. I actually kind of like it. I like the feeling of going back and finishing things that it's kind of what it feels like. It's like you go back and finish some of the things that were left unfinished, and it allows you to move forward easier.
Yep, exactly. It kind of gives us that space to do that.
Yes. So how did you get into astrology?
I was born into astrology in a sense. My dad came up with the first computer that could, in the 70s, could create a chart without people having to draw them by hand, because that's how they were creating the charts before that. So he created this computer. And so I grew up around astrology, and I grew up in that world of just different modalities of learning ourselves and self-knowledge. And astrology was definitely the one that I was most connected to. Like, I love that the day that you were born means something so monumental. And it's something that you can go really deep with. And I've always been obsessed with it for as long as I can remember now.
I like to think of it as kind of like the cheat codes. You know, you're getting the little insider information into the matrix and how it all works.
Yep. It's so cool. And that's exactly what I've been hearing, that word code, in connection with astrology just in the last couple of weeks. Like, I think there is like this new influx of information that's coming in and that's becoming available to people through their birth charts specifically. because of this kind of new energy that we're moving into.
Oh, exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So, for somebody that's never been into any of this before, somebody that's kind of new to astrology, how would you even be able to get that information? How does that work?
In terms of
Like your natal
what do you
chart being able to give you information about who you are as a person. I've always seen it as kind of like your blueprint in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at it like a map. It can tell you from like your innermost, how you operate, up into like really expansive how you are in the world. So it really is a blueprint of you in the world, why you're here, what you're here to do, what your needs are, how you think. And it can also give you such an interesting insight into why we can't even judge each other, because we all have completely different charts.
Yes. Even if you're born 5 minutes away from a twin, you're still got a different chart, technically, in a way.
You have a different chart, and you also have a different karma. You have a different consciousness. So no chart's going to play out the same. It's all really up to the individual and how they can take on their life and live it, which will ebb and flow. Like, you know, we have like things that happen to us, and then there's other times where we feel really more conscious, like, oh no, I can do this. And we're kind of more participating on a different level, I would say. And I think the chart helps us participate on a different level.
Yes. Well, there's a reason that royals and scientists have been using this for thousands of years.
Absolutely. Isn't that crazy?
I know, right? I think the version that they've let us use is kind of different to the version that you know, they're using in private.
Yeah. Well, that's funny, actually, that that computer. So I guess like Reagan used to have an astrologer, and they've talked about that a lot. But yeah, you realize like there's other people using this that weren't even speaking about it.
No, it's because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to be able to determine things the way that they can. This is how they consider themselves to be elitists in a way.
And now it's so accessible, right? Like,
Well, you know, when it comes to your charts, I've never really been able to understand mine to much of a degree. I do understand the basics of being like a sun sign. You have your sun, your moon, and your rising. That is, you know, pretty easy and standard. Most people do tend to know those. But do you mind explaining a little bit about the moon sign and the rising? Because most people really just know about the solar sign.
Yeah, the sun sign is great. That has to do with the day that you were born, where the sun was. Excuse me. The moon is going to show where the moon was when you were born. And those two, even if you only like studied those two, you would get so much insight into the sun being kind of the theme of our life, our soul's aspiration. So there's qualities around that based on the sun sign. And then in your natal chart, it'll be in a certain part of your chart. The parts representing like the different circumstances of our life. So Laura, can I speak about your chart a little bit?
By all means, please. These guys know I'm an open book. I don't mind.
Yes. So your chart, just for an example, your sun is in your 10th house of your calling. So your calling might be really at the forefront for you and really important. Your career, who you are in public, your reputation, that can be like a big theme of your life, to put it simply.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe you feel that. And it's also been under your life is, you're actually in a time of change, I would say. It can feel like a revolutionary change, but it's something that's been a long time coming as well. So it's kind of both of those energies. But that's the kind of insight we can get from knowing our sun and knowing where it is in the chart. It's just kind of that theme of our life. And then the moon, your moon is really interesting too. So the moon talks about our operating system, what we
Yeah.
need to feel good, like how we can feel nurtured, how we might nurture other people. And this is really important because a lot of people, I think, don't necessarily focus on what they need to feel good. So when you have that insight of like, oh, this is my moon, like that is what makes me feel good. That is important. And I need to tend to that in my life. It can be really healing and really helpful. Your moon is also under a space of change right now. For you, your moon is in the 8th house, which is the occult, mysteries, other worlds. That's where your moon lives. So to have these like spaces for you to explore that could feel very nurturing. Yeah,
That's
right.
all I do. Yes.
Literally all you do. And so if you weren't doing that, like how would you feel, right? If you didn't have that in your life. That's why the
Empty.
moon is so
Yeah.
important,
Yes.
right? And does
Wow.
it like nourish you, like doing this work? Like, is it nourishing in a way that maybe it wouldn't be for somebody else, right?
It doesn't feel like work to me. It's a vocation, you know. It's something that I live and breathe at this point. So, you know,
Yeah.
like yeah, second nature. So now, yes, and that you're spot on about everything else
So
you've said too. Yes, definitely change going on right now.
huge changes for you, especially in your 9th and 10th house, which we can talk about, which is teaching and career. So then the rising sign, I love the story of the rising sign. They say like everything is predetermined, like our soul makes a contract, we're going to come in on this day at this time, but it's the baby, it's the soul that chooses what time to be born because that's what determines your rising sign. So your rising is a really interesting point. Yours is in the sign of Leo. And so it infuses your whole heart. It's like how we see the world. So you can see this world through this Leo lens of like expression for the authentic expression, like what's real, like what are we really doing? That colors your whole chart.
It's funny because
So
I've always been very introverted. So my Leo is like my hidden extrovert that comes out. So because I've always been very introverted, but the Leo aspect has come out recently in the last 2 years.
Oh, just recently? Oh, that's interesting.
To be honest, I've always kind of not liked being the center of attention. So I've liked to be quiet and in the background, so to speak. But the Leo was like, no, you need to be seen now. So this has been
time
outside
to
my
shine.
comfort zone.
Time to shine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so knowing those three, I think are so important. And you can also like the way you blend those. So the way you blend your career with the mystery, with I think probably being an introvert is a big part of it's kind of like you get to incubate and then share yourself, right? Yeah. So it's magical that gets to be seen. So another layer of astrology is the symbols that are attached to each degree.
Okay.
So a circle has 360 degrees. So there's 360 symbols that are in the circle, which means, so if I'm looking at your chart, all of the planets and all of these points that we're talking about have a specific symbol that's attached to each one of them. So this is my specialty. This is what I'm obsessed with. This gives you like another layer of information, an insight into you and what's unique about you. So I'll read you some of your symbols. They're kind of like little koans. And these are with you for your whole life. So people meditate with them, contemplate them. They're really symbolic, and they're like they're an image that you can interact with. Okay. I'll tell you your moon sign. It's in Pisces.
Yes.
It says a nomad in the jungle digs a watering hole for wild animals to drink. Okay. So what does that mean for you?
Yeah.
You're like, tell me more. So if you think of a nomad in the jungle digging a watering hole, it's like you're trying to gather people, right? It's like you bring
Yes.
people to you. And so it's like you can kind of like create this community around you. You're in a jungle, right? It's like a wild place, but there's something about you that can bring people together in this way. Can be nourishing, can be like, here's the water, like this is, here's your source energy. Does that resonate?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. My friends jokingly call me Lara the Lighthouse. It's kind of like a like a thing now. I know, it's very
That's
sweet.
another place. That's another place. I've seen that. I'll tell you, one of your symbols in your 10th house says, a new hope appears like a shining beacon on a hill. This is one of your prominent symbols in your chart. I know.
Wow.
That's your Chiron.
Oh,
I
interesting.
know.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that has to do with you being teacher, healer. How can you bring this? What information are you bringing to people to help empower them and to help see themselves as healers, to help see themselves learn whatever they need to learn, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, that certainly resonates.
That's also like what's fun about a chart reading is a lot of times it's like not stuff you don't know, right? It's stuff that's like reassuring and be like, okay, like I am on my right path. This area of my life does feel weird because there's something happening here, right? Like it can be really like cathartic, I think, to help locate you where you are. So those are the big three. I also want to talk about the thing that's opposite your Leo is in the sign of Aquarius. So you may feel really personal and introverted, but how we see you is like really in the world, really connected to the collective. It's like you have one eye on what's happening, but then you have this whole other vision, this whole other access to see something different. And that's how people see you.
Yep, that's spot on as well. Thank you.
Isn't that great?
It is. That is it's spot on. Yep.
Oh, and there's another part. So the symbol is an actor on the world stage. An actor assumes many roles. So there's also this kind of part of you that can really connect with anybody that you're with.
Yeah.
Like you can easily like see things from other perspectives.
I made friends at the airport the other day. I just do that. I just talk to random people. They're standing there for no reason. We're just standing there around. I just like, hey, how are you? And I started random conversation with people. And yeah, that's just how I am. So even though I am pretty introverted and I like my time to myself, I can talk to absolutely anyone. Doesn't matter who they are.
I know. I was like, how am I going to do this? Like, what are we going to talk about? Like, and then I saw that symbol and I was like, oh, she's got it. Like, I don't have to avoid work. Like, she'll know how to take care of it. She'll know how to get into it. And just take that. It's incredible.
Thank you.
And also your Jupiter is right next to this in your chart, which is really interesting. So you are like this, the Jupiter is like a dispeller of darkness. It's like the inner guru. It's like you sharing your wisdom to bring light to the collective because it's in Aquarius, which we know Pluto's moving into Aquarius. I'm sure we've heard about. But this is like, I get that you're introverted and I get that you have this really big presence. That's really
nobody believes me when I say I'm introverted. Yes, I am.
Yeah, yes. You super are. Especially again with the moon in the 8th house, that's really private. And like it's cool that you're an open book, but it's not like you were just like that came easy to you necessarily, you know.
No.
What
Don't come
shifted
easy.
for you? Why did it shift? Or like, was there
Learning
a
my
catalyst?
vocation, learning my true reason for being here shifted it for me.
Okay. Your true
Yeah.
reason, how do you express that?
I for most of my life, I was kind of floundering around, even trying to figure out who I am and why I'm here, you know? And now I know who I am and why I'm here. And changing that, it gives you a whole, it narrows the world down to being so much and so vast and too much to handle, to getting me into the right path with the right focus. So yeah, it was overwhelming to not know who you are, to feel lost within a world that is so big and not knowing how to fulfill any form of role for that reason. So when I found out who I
Amen.
am and I was able to retain some of what I've experienced before this lifetime, it really helped to put
Yep.
everything into a greater perspective.
Wow.
Big time. Yeah. It's been slow going. Like 12 years ago, I had my first out of body experience. My soul guides literally pulled me out of body to have a face-to-face conversation because I'm a Taurus born in the year of the ox and I'm extremely stubborn. So they couldn't really
Mhm.
get to my attention. They had to pull me out and have a face-to-face conversation and be very direct with me because subtlety was not working. Not at all.
Like, listen,
I was
that's
not getting the hint.
funny. Yeah, you have your cross, like we have a cross in our chart, which is our embodiment, and yours is in the fixed signs. So to say you're stubborn, sure, but also like deeply rooted in the earth and with other, I like to say deeply rooted, that you're really connected to something deeper and bigger as opposed to just fixed. I think that's great. Like we need those people that are that fixed, right? And that
Yeah.
connected. That's
Yes.
really cool.
Thank you. Oh, I love
um,
that.
Beautiful.
We got a couple
Yeah, what
questions
else do you want
popping
to
up
know?
we
What else?
can ask.
Sure.
Somebody wanted to know, what if the doctors don't write down their correct birth time? Wouldn't that change everything?
Yeah, so your birth time is really important. It'll give you your exact rising degree, and it gives you the placement of where all of your planets are in
Okay.
your chart. If you don't have it, it's okay because you still know when you're born, it's basically your chart is a picture of the sky when you were born. So you know where all the planets were that day. So that's not going to change too much during the day. Some people usually know like if they were born in the morning or at night or just in the day. So that can help.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the exact birth time that gives you the exact location of the planets, which can give you that information about what relationships are like for you, what's your career like. So that's why the birth time is so helpful.
Okay.
But there's a lot that you can do without it.
All right. JC wanted to know, what does it mean if you have everything but water signs in your chart?
Everything but water. So when you don't have things in specific houses and you don't have a lot of elements, it can mean that some people look at it like, oh, that is a lack, but it could also mean that's just not your work in this lifetime. So if you came in and you don't have a lot of water, it doesn't mean like you're not a watery, compassionate person. That just may not be something that you need to work on much in this life. Um, so focus on where your planets are and to see like what I always say work, but that's because I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart. So it can be like how to engage, what you're going to be engaging with.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of fire, it may be like about you balancing your fire, finding your courage, things like that.
So I've always joked, like, if I'm mostly like earth and water, does that make me mud? Like, because we think about
And a lot of amazing things grow from mud. Yeah, you have a lot of water. You also have a lot of air in your chart though.
Oh, okay. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. Your Mars is in Gemini, you're that Jupiter in Aquarius. You have a bit of air.
Daniela
yeah,
says maybe screen share the chart so listeners can see how unique each chart is. Would you like to try and do that? We could do that.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So if we go to that, and then you can go to present down on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And then you should be good to go. It should allow you to click the other screen. There we go. Loy says, does having lots of Scorpio placements mean anything? She has Sun, Rising, Saturn, and Pluto in Scorpio.
Sun, Rising, Saturn, and Pluto. Oh, and in Scorpio?
Yeah.
Does it mean anything? It could mean that you really appreciate depth, that you really appreciate authenticity, and that transformation could be a big theme in your life.
Okay. Fascinating.
Oh, it won't let me share. I'm not sure why. I think it's a setting that I have that it won't let me share.
Okay. If you want, you can send it to me and I can share it. Would that work?
Yeah. It's just a little screenshot. I took your information out and just made a little square of it.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, got it. All right. And then, sorry, guys. Mercury retrograde shadow here. Here we go. Present.
Excuse.
Share screen. All right. Is that working?
Yeah.
There we go. That'll work.
That's a picture of you.
I look a little top heavy.
Exactly. So when you have planets in the bottom half, if you break it up in the two, the bottom is really introverted and the top is more in the world and extroverted. And usually people that have a lot at the top don't like to be in the world, but they end up being in the world. So it's kind of like you do all this like deep personal work underneath, and then you're really, it's your moon and it's your sun and it's your Venus and your Mars, like all your inner planets get to show up in the world, but your deep work, you know, you're doing, that's part of it. It's connected. You need both. Some people just have everything shoved over to the left. Some is just all over. For me, everything's underneath the horizon. So even just that can tell you how.
Okay. So these are the symbols you were talking about at the top there. Those are the symbols you meant.
Yep. So every degree has a symbol attached to it. They were channeled by a woman in the 50s.
Fascinating.
When she worked with an astrologer. It is. So my astrology teacher, she grew up with those symbols. She was raised learning them. They're called the Sabian symbols. And she's now in the process of revising them, taking the essence of each symbol, but making it into something a little bit more contemporary that people can understand and get the essence of. So the symbols that I'm reading are her symbols. She's putting a book together now.
Okay.
When you look at this, Laura, does anything?
There's everybody's asking for your website already. There you go. There's the website. Steph says mine are mostly on top, but I'm very introverted. I've never heard the top and bottom heavy as you describe it.
Yeah. I know when I tell people, because it's like a lot of people, my friends, a lot of them have a lot in the upper, and I'm like, oh, there's a part of you that really needs to be in the world. And they're like, no, there's not. It's not necessarily something that they look forward to, but it does kind of feel like a compulsion as well of like something that they're going toward in this lifetime. And like you said, it's only been more recently, right, that you've been in such a public space.
I have always, I've been quiet. I was a writer more than most people didn't know it was me behind the scenes. So I did put my stuff out there for years. I mean, one of my articles was read by 80 million people, but at the same time, nobody really knew it was me writing it. I was very much like a ghostwriter, So even though my stuff was out there, I was not. So that's why this has been a big shift for me. In fact, it's really funny. This podcast is because I took a lot of mushrooms one night and my guides were like, you need a podcast. And they harassed me the entire night to create one. So it's really my own soul guides that I have to thank for you and I even having this conversation, because they harassed the shit out of me until I created my own podcast. So I got a shove from spirit. We'll put it that way. Yes.
Yeah. Because all that Aquarius is like it's like there is something here for the collective. You can't, and it's not to say that if you don't have that, you're not going to do anything in the collective, but for your chart, it was really like, whoa, it's like between teaching. Are you a teacher?
I am. Yep.
Okay. Because your 9th house of teaching is really interesting. The 9th house is teaching, higher education, spirituality, foreign lands.
Just for the record, guys, Raina doesn't hardly know anything about me. We kept her kind of quiet. We kept her in the dark about me, so she would be able to pull this all from the chart. People are going to be like, "You told her all this, didn't you?" No, I didn't say a word.
I know. I thought Yeah. It's so fascinating. But I was like, well, I mean, there's like a bit of like, oh, should I know more before I see her? But I was like, well, I don't know my clients. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're going to have to go into it and see what's revealed. Yeah. There is like a point in your chart in this 9th house for you that's under a big, I don't know what the word is, but it's been illuminated. So your teaching has been illuminated. Who you are as a teacher and what you're bringing has been under, I would say, like some kind of change. And specifically your Lilith degree. And I'll read you the symbol for your Lilith. It's just been so illuminated for a while. It started back in like June of 2023 and it ends in February of 2025. So it's like a 2-year transit that's been, I don't know, doing something in your teaching world. And it could be with you.
It was in July 2023, just for the record. Wow. How spot on is that?
You found whose work?
The mentor that I started teaching through, basically. I found him in July 2023. Yeah,
okay.
Dr. Palm. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the symbol. It's in a blinding flash, a firefighter leaps to braving the flame. So, I mean, there's like a lot of
4 years.
You are a literal firefighter? Okay.
I joined on my 16th birthday. I was a firefighter from 16 to 20.
Okay. Well, maybe,
like literally, yes, I literally was a firefighter.
Okay. So, so you will have such a good insight into this. The symbols, they're not usually that literal. They're more symbolic. Love that you're an actual firefighter. Okay.
I did not see that coming. I'm sorry. You caught me off guard with that.
How funny. Okay. I did not know that part, but
Holy
How
shit,
would you
girl.
relate the energy of that, of being a firefighter, into what's been happening since 2023?
It's what I do is I put out fires all over the world right now. I do, just
Okay, so you did
energetically.
it literally.
I put out
And now
energetic
you do
fires
it.
now.
Now it's energetic. That's so funny.
Wow. Color me impressed.
That's great. Our Lilith degree, yeah, that's like it's something that's so we just do naturally. But I again didn't know it was going to be literal, but I get the symbolism of you doing it energetically now. So that's been under a huge change. The eclipse that we had in April of 2024 was exactly on that degree, like exactly.
Holy
So
shit.
that
That was a doozy for me. That was the most intense eclipse I've ever felt in my life. Yep.
What did you notice about it for you? Was it something happening
Um,
or you felt inside?
it shifted a lot of things in my life. Yeah. It shifted my perspective on a lot of things. It shifted my intentions. It did. It changed a lot of things in my life big time. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like this overhaul. I was
Yeah.
thinking of, and the firefighter, the archetype of that, like the courage that you need to really like, oh my God, like uh and the risk involved in it is like immense. Like that's not like and
No, I
I'm
needed
not.
the bells and whistles. That was the best part about it was the excitement and helping people. Yeah, but the excitement while helping people made it my thing. And I still have that even with the work I do now.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because that's all in Aries. You see your ninth house is all in the sign of Aries, which
Oh.
is like passion, leadership. It's the individual. You're really connected to spirit, but it's really like it's about you, and it's like a very pioneering degree of like new territory.
Mm. Also accurate.
Right.
Yes.
So that's your work, and your Venus is there. So it's like a longing that you have, even though it's difficult. And your Mercury is there as well.
Can I ask
As
more
your
about the Lilith? Because I'm still quite, I don't really understand about the whole Lilith sign. How does that affect us?
So the Lilith in our chart, there's actually 4 different points of Lilith. You can do like real deep dives into Lilith. I use the Black Moon Lilith in my readings, and it points us to this. It's like Lilith was like before Eve. Like there's something really ancient and primal about Lilith, and we can feel it in us. So that firefighter degree for you, it's not like it's kind of like something that you just naturally do. If you had your sun degree and it was the firefighter degree, you may be like finding your courage and honing that skill of bravery. But for you with your Lilith, it's kind of like that courage is so deeply embedded in your DNA that it's like that's just what you came here with. So the other planets you're working through and understanding and balancing and growing, but the Lilith is like, this is what we do. This is who we
Yeah.
are. It's always happy the more that we are working it and using that courage and compassion of that degree, the more you feel like yourself.
Yeah. Spot on. Yep. 100%. Yeah.
I love bringing that into readings. Yeah. And again, like that's just really been since 2023 illuminated in a deep, deep way. And I think it also has been connecting for you, perhaps, like what is your true path and what do you need to do, even though it's scary. Chiron has been there. Chiron is what's illuminating it.
Okay.
So it can be it can just be a hard, it can be a hard transit. And what comes out of it is you just feeling more like yourself, basically.
So are you able to depict like stages of your life throughout your chart, like the way things are going to unfold as you age?
Yes, in a couple different ways. My favorite way, and I always tell people when we get on a reading, is we have these 30-year cycles. And the 30-year cycles are not based on your age. They're based on where the sun and the moon were when you were born. It's called the lunation cycle. And so everybody can be at a different point of this cycle, no matter what age they are, which is so important because when you meet somebody and they're 60 and they're like, I think I want to become a painter. What's wrong with me? But you can see that they're in the beginning of that cycle. That's such important information. I looked at yours, obviously. And you started a new cycle back in March of 2021. That's when you started and you embarked on a new 30-year circle.
Oh, okay. 2021. Interesting.
Of March. So yeah. The symbol that it's like the title of the whole 30 years is questioning the seen world, the child colors outside of the lines.
Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Colors outside the lines. So you're going outside the box, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Way outside. And you're just questioning the lines. You're like, I don't even think these are real, actually. And I don't think they matter.
No,
and so if we're creating something, let's get rid of that, right?
Wow. Yep.
When you were 6 years old to 35, that's when you did your first 30 year cycle. And I'll read you the symbol for it, because you've already completed this. And so you've taken that wisdom into this new cycle. It says, the heart of every creature vibrates with the song of the earth.
Vibrates with the song of the earth. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Thinking about freaking relation.
About what?
That makes in relation to frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Is that what your work is? Is it frequency work?
Yeah, pretty much. That's a very basic way of explaining it, but yeah. Yeah. I remove frequencies,
but that's
that
the
are
essence of it, or the core.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a bit of lag here with the internet. I basically just help to clear foreign frequencies from people. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so you spent 30 years understanding what that is. And then you're bringing that into coloring outside of the lines. You're bringing all of that wisdom into questioning the seen world.
Yep, that's very true. Erin had a question. Is there a book with the symbols?
Yes, it's currently being written. And I don't know actually when it will be finished. They're all done, but she's in the process of revising them. So I work with her on this. So she is open to them being shared at this point, just knowing that they may change a little bit as she goes through the revision process.
Okay. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any questions? I've got her link that I'll share again for you guys, for those of you who are just popping in. maybe we can have a little chat about what you offer for your sessions for people, because I'm sure you're going to have some people that
Sure.
are interested in booking.
Yep. So basically, when you first do a chart reading, we look at your natal chart. We really get a foundation of the whole map of you, of what energies are within you, where you feel struggles, where it's hard, what works well for you, what you'd like to transform. And we just really sit and be with the natal chart. We go through that 30-year cycle. We see where you are. We help you get located. And then from there, there's follow-up sessions where then you look deeper into everything. So you can look at just what's being illuminated, like we did a little bit with you. So you can see what points of your chart are really under change. There's ways to do, I don't do a ton of predictive astrology, but there's ways to see what you're evolving through. So you can see big energy shifts that you could be feeling internally. You can kind of locate what that is and how to move forward with it and what you're looking to learn. There's also your solar return, which so I do people's charts around their birthday so they can look at the year ahead and see what's going on for them. And where to put their energy.
Interesting question a few minutes ago. Thank you, Cricket, for re-asking. What is the meaning of being born in a town where the zip code identically matches your birth date?
I mean, I just would think you're a really synchronistic person. And messages may come really easy to you. I think that's fascinating. I love stuff like that. Even when you look at the numbers on the chart, you can make so many different connections through everything. And it's actually the numbers that make astrology so interesting. It's the fact that wherever you have a 14 degree of anything, that 14 is big for you. That energy of the number 14 is something, it's a signature to you. So all of that can be explored. So when I work with people, it's I have clients that I just have for years and years because we're constantly unfolding the meaning of their chart. It's your life. It's your whole lifetime conversation.
Jessica had a question. What is your interpretation of 0 degrees and 29 degrees?
Yeah, so the 0 and the 29, there's 30 degrees in each sign. So when we have something at 0 degrees, it's kind of like the door opening to the sign. So right now, Pluto's moving into Aquarius. So it's hit that first sign of Aquarius. So we're really getting kind of a door opening into all of these Aquarian themes. Okay. It can feel really vast, but it's giving you kind of the opener to what's coming. And then at the end of the sign, it's kind of like the capstone. We just had Pluto at the end of Capricorn. So this fall, there was a kind of this reintegration time of what we've learned over the 0 to 30 degrees of Capricorn. It can be like the peak of something. So you have the opening and the peak, and they're very powerful degrees, very powerful placements.
Fascinating. What does it mean if you were born on the cusp of a sign?
Oh, in terms of if you know the time, then you'll know if you're a Leo or a Virgo. Right. So I think some people think that they could be both, but once you know the time, you'll be able to see which sign.
Do you really have a blending that happens when they're on the cusp of the two?
Well, not if you know the time.
Switch at that time.
I will put you in one or the other. Okay. Is my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How much would the birth time be off if you're how much would the birth time change if you're off by 10 minutes? So if your birth time might be inaccurate by 10 minutes, it could change everything?
Yeah. It could change. So for you, you're it's a 17 degrees of Leo. So if it moved 10 minutes, you'd probably still be in Leo. But for somebody whose rising sign is, 27 something, it could easily get to the next sign.
So like twins, for example, who are born 30 minutes apart, they would have, it's very possible that one could have a very different sign to the other. Okay.
Yep.
That's
Which is interesting because everything where the planets are will shift in their life. So two twins, but their circumstances can be really different based on that timing, even if it's a couple minutes.
How would you interpret a stellium?
A stellium, I think, is 6 or more planets in a sign. It's a really heavy like weight into one sign. The way that I've seen it when I have talked to people who have a lot of planets in one, I mean, you have quite a bit. We have 4 and 4. The way it's just interesting. I mean, to me, it's just like, okay, you're really learning about Aries now, right? Like this is really like a lot of weight in this part of your chart. So it's like those themes can just be heavy in a person's life. Again, you do have quite a bit of Aries. That's that kind of like bringing new things.
I do tend to butt heads sometimes with Aries people and Capricorn people and other Tauruses. And I always laugh. I'm like, maybe it's because we all have horns. We decide to lock heads,
Yeah,
like.
my way.
Yeah.
Love it. I think it's 6 or more as a stellium.
Okay.
Oh, somebody said 4 or more. Yeah, maybe it depends on the person. I don't know.
Oh, Aaron says, I have 3, I believe. Thank you for asking about the stellium. I have sun in 2 houses and moon in 9. Is that good?
I have sun in 2nd house and the moon is in 9th. Good. Is that good? So a fun thing about astrology is there is no good or bad. It's all just information. And so we really don't like to use words like this is great for you, this is not good for you. It's just different. So sun in the 2nd house, moon in the 9th house. I don't know. I think they're both great. So it matters on how you're using
it. Really, everybody's got their own perspectives and opinions. Chantal says, do you ever encounter people who are totally different to what their chart says? And what would that mean? An authentic, wrong path?
Not totally different. Like even when I look at a chart, like I can get so much information from looking at the chart. I see where things are. I know the degrees. I know the symbols. I know where the circumstances are. But until I sit with the person, I don't really know where they're at. So people who are different to what their chart says, it's a whole spectrum. Everything is operating on a level of consciousness. So it depends on where the person is. I have no idea what the chart says. It's really sitting and talking to you, to the client, and this, something can come through both people. So.
Okay. In relation to partners, how does this kind of work? Like charts that you may have with a partner. For example, like Summer says, I'm a Capricorn married to a Taurus. We butt heads, but we are also very strong together as a team. So what makes a sign kind of compatible with another sign?
I think when they do compatibility, there's this kind of, I'm not huge on the compatibility stuff. I think what you want to happen, you can make happen. I think if you have 2 people who have seemingly incompatible charts, really care about each other and want something to work, they can make it work. And I think what's amazing about it is you can take 2 charts, somebody that you're connected with, and what you can do is create a 3rd chart, which is the chart of the relationship. You can do it with your friends, your family, your partners, and you can see what are the issues that are up. What are we trying to learn here together? You can basically do the same thing that you do for yourself, and to have somebody that's interested in doing that with you or not, as long as you know what you're working through, can be so helpful and incredibly healing. And it gives you this context. Like that's what astrology is for me. It gives you a context of what is going on. Everything feels so vast. So anything that we can do that can help us hone in to like, what is my purpose? What is my path? Why am I here? I think is so important.
Wonderful. Does it give you any insight into other people that you have connection with? Like, for example, like, does it give you any insight about relationships and things that will come in?
Oh, for sure. Because of different planets going through different houses, you'll be able to get an idea of what's going on in your relationship world right now, what's coming, what's trying to be illuminated, what are you trying to learn? Where's the energy? When you look at the nodes of the moon, you can see like where their energy is and where their energy isn't. So when you have the south node in your house of marriage, there may be a different energy there for a relationship. So all of that can be really helpful to see like what's coming, what's going on, and again, like where to focus your attention.
I'm not surprised that the main thing you can see in my chart is all about my professional life, because that pretty much is running my life right now. It's all, there's probably not much saying in relationship wise, because I have no interest really in that sort of thing. I am just kind of here to work is kind of how I look at it. So even though ironically I've been married twice, and the reason I mentioned this is because funnily enough, the only person I've ever gotten a reading from, there was this wonderful lady in South Africa who asked me for my information, my date of birth, all of these things. And then she asked me for the date of birth and all of those things of all my most prominent partners in life.
Oh, wow.
And when she went through that, she was able to determine like what attracted us together, why it didn't work. And ironically, she even told me, she goes, yeah, I hate to break it to you, but I see that your both marriages are not going to work. Because I was still married the second time. And she basically told me, she's like, yeah, you're going to get a divorce in the next like year or two. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And yes, she was spot on. I did.
So, wow. That's amazing.
So she told me this before we were even really having problems. And I was like, really? So I always kind of laughed. Like, was it manifested through this, or was it just in the chart and she could see it coming? And I think it was. I think it was just in the chart. Yeah.
You could see it. Yeah. I mean, there's some things like that, but then it's like you never know like what people are gonna, what the path really is. Like I would never claim to know that. That's just me.
Yeah.
And
I was really surprised someone would actually be that forward with future information. But yeah, she nailed it. Every single one of the relationships she broke down, like why things fell apart, and she was spot on with all of it. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
It's really spooky how accurate she was. So that's why I was wondering, like, what else is in there that I don't know about?
Yeah, what else can't I see? Definitely the energy is around your teaching career and your business clients, whatever. That's just where the energy is like hot for you in the next couple of years. So Pluto's for you is going to go through your house of marriage. So for the next 22 years, it'll be there. So it's just you kind of, the energy is like there to get to the truth of what relationships really mean to you. And if you don't have energy for that now, to me, that makes sense, because it's like you're kind of going into an era where you're going to understand it on a much deeper level. And I don't know that it's going to be this year. I think it would be later down the line. But you never know. You don't know like who's going to come in.
No, I look at boys as a big distraction right now. So no, this resonates. So, no. I can't let anything distract me from what I came here to do.
Well, and maybe it's supportive to you too. Maybe it doesn't feel like a distraction.
We'll see.
Oh, we'll see. Oh, keep me
I'm just reading through the comments here. I have my sun in Aquarius at 0 degrees and 5 planets in Capricorn. My brother passed away January 17, 2028, which is just about exactly when Pluto went into Capricorn. I have been wondering what my 0-degree Aquarius sun might reflect for me. It feels like it means something important.
Yeah, I think anything at 0 degrees of Aquarius, there is some, if someone had a sun or any planet. I know a lot of people that had things at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And I would say that they've been, what I'm seeing is them going through, if it's your sun, it could be a big shift into the theme of your life. And Pluto always wants us to get to what's real, what's true. So it's always kind of digging things up so that we can see what's real. It's like that kind of death and rebirth energy, not physical death, just the what wants to be transformed. So if it's your sun, it could be something in your life that really wants to transform your soul's aspiration. You could come to a completely new and deeper understanding about things like that.
Yeah. Beautifully said. If someone had sun or any planet at 0 degrees of Aquarius, would that have any significant meaning?
Yeah, again, I know people that have a couple of my clients right now where they have 0 degrees. It's a kind of not a breakdown, but there's something that's just not working for them anymore. Something that needs to shift in their life, and that's really general, but it feels like, again, that kind of door opening. So if you have a placement at 0, you live at that door, right? Like you're always in that energy of 0, 1 degree. And so with Pluto coming over that, it's kind of like, oh, hey, and it doesn't have to be in Aquarius. It's 1 degree of anything, 0 degrees of anything in your chart. There's something opening up for you. So what is that opening? What wants to transform? What is just so not working for you? Those are the kinds of questions that Pluto can bring up.
Wonderful. So these are the kind of questions that you can bring for your session, so to speak, if you're booking a reading.
Absolutely. Anything that you think, when people come to a reading, they're usually at a point of like something that's like, this isn't working, and what am I supposed to be doing? Whether it's in relationship, in their calling, wherever it is, it's usually, astrology is always changing. So it's like, how do I vibe with change? How do I start to embrace that things are always changing and always shifting?
Fascinating. Okay. Alma says, what does Lilith in Cancer mean, please?
Lilith in Cancer can be like a deep wisdom around taking care. Cancer is home and mother and security. So it could be a protective energy that you have that's just very deep within you, and doesn't have to be a lot of work. It could be something that you love to do, but could be relating to the home and to caring.
Okay. Fascinating. Raquel says, I have 4 planets in Taurus. Does that make me super stubborn?
Oh, Raquel. Yes. So when we think of Taurus is so funny. Taurus is like, there's a lot happening under the ground that we can't see. So it may look stubborn to other people, Raquel, but I don't know like what you're vibing under the surface, and what's gonna grow of that. So I mean, stubborn, sure, maybe on one level, but you can take it really deep and think about how rooted you are, and how grounded you are, and how well you know yourself, and those are all good qualities as well.
It's funny how every sign basically has their stereotypes that go along with it. Like the Taurus stereotype is like being a stubborn foodie, which is totally accurate, just for the record. I'm just saying. I totally stereotype. And I
Absolutely.
have dated a few Geminis. I'm not going to say anything but negative, even though I probably could say a couple things about Geminis.
Uh-huh. You have Mars and Gemini.
I won't date a Gemini again, just for the record. I love you, Geminis, very much, but nope, not doing that again.
You're like, not for me. What was it
No.
about a Gemini? What was it? If you had to,
the whole chameleon aspect, because they blend into your life, right? Where they kind of mold into your life, but it's not authentic in a way. It's like they're trying to fit into the shape that you have available rather than making sure that their shape is authentically supposed to fit into that space. So eventually they get tired of the charade, I guess. They get tired of this is what, at least what I've noticed from my Gemini exes, where they just stop playing around. After a while, they were like, all right, I'm done playing this role. That was nice.
yeah.
And so because it wasn't authentically who they were trying to be, you know what I mean? It was like a role they were playing for a little while temporarily. And so then they go find another role that they were meant to carry on until they find the perfect space for them where they naturally fit where they're supposed to, rather than having to transmute themselves and change to somebody else.
No, that's so beautiful, Laura. I love how you said that.
I've thought about this a lot.
I did a lot of deep contemplating on that guy. Yeah, and I get that. The other thing to know is whatever people's sun signs are, or whatever you know about them, and their astrology, just remember, like, I'm a Scorpio sun. So
oh, there you go. We've heard about you guys, the Scorpios.
But it's like, I'm not like a well-formed Scorpio, right? That's my word. That's why I came here as a Scorpio sun, to become the highest level of Scorpio that I can. So I just like that disclaimer of like, just because somebody's this doesn't mean they're like, they know what they're doing yet, right? So just to give each other a lot of like love and compassion about where we're learning and what our growth is.
Exactly. Although the sign I've noticed that I get along with really well are the like the Cancers and the Aquarians and that sort of thing. I don't know what it is about the crabby types, but I totally get on with them. I understand their hard exterior, so to speak, and why they
for sure,
are also quite introverted at times. So I do get along with crabs very well. So
definitely, you have that Pisces moon, and you come from your watery Scorpio is down here at the base where Cancer is. So you and water signs probably really know how to protect each other and be there for each other and help each other grow. Yeah,
I can understand their depth, so to speak.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. This is a fun conversation. Thank you. This has been great. I love talking about these things.
I know.
So I'm going to share your link. We've already had some compliments about your website, about how clean and nice and pretty it is.
Oh, nice. Thanks, guys.
So I'm going to share the link one more time. And if you guys have any questions about booking your own readings with Raina, feel free to ask here, or you can message her. You have a social media as well that you share this stuff.
Yep, I'm kind of rebranding. I'm putting my stuff out in a new way. I have what's the discount code? I have Facebook, I have an Instagram, and my website. And I'm starting a YouTube channel with a couple of people. And I'm in Astara, of course. And I'll be giving things there. I'm doing one on the astrology of 2025 in January to give you like an overview of everything that's coming. So much change is happening. So that'll be really fun.
Wonderful. Danielle is mentioning a discount code.
Yep. I have a code for it's Astara 40, which will give
Astara 40?
a discount for natal readings. Yep.
Like that one?
Yep.
Astara 40. There we go. Cool. Quick couple more questions. How do people have all of these houses? I currently only own one home. Bradley, that was a dad joke. Yes. Bradley and his one house. I should have known that was going to be a joke, Bradley. I can hear him cracking up in the distance right now. Lowercase or all caps, it doesn't matter. Wonderful. So let's see if there's any other questions. All right, I think we got them all. Cool. So for those of you who are interested in having your own session, please do. Raina, as you can see, is very knowledgeable about all these things. And I'm also excited to hear, we can have you guys back next time as well. Some of you guys can tell us about what you've learned from your sessions as well.
Yeah, be cool.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for today, Raina. That was really fun. And I mean, that was crazy accurate. Really, you stunned me a couple times, I must say.
Oh, thanks, Laura.
That was great. And
Yeah,
many thanks to Daniela for this introduction. How long have you known Daniela?
7, 8 years, a long time. Lifetimes,
Oh, yes.
I don't know.
She's just an angel in human form, isn't she? She's the best.
I love her so much.
We love you, Daniela. Yeah. Thank you for setting this up for us. This is a wonderful chat.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, it was lovely to have you guys join us today. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, we'll be seeing you another time, Raina. Thank you so much. It's 11:11. Make sure you guys go and enjoy your wonderful day. Perfect timing. Love you all. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.